All right, welcome to another episode, yet another episode. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Of 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast, and you can guess what it's all about tonight. It's about daddies and the people who raised us. Father's Day is coming up today. It's Sunday. It's Father's Day, and so I thought I would bring my favorite daddy on next. Well, besides my own father, Pecan the Man. Sir Robert of McCallum. Of course, I bring him back on the show because why the fuck else? He's my favorite daddy. He's my favorite Vanilla Mountain daddy.
I'm just shaking my head at
we
the
have
Vanilla
a friend.
Mountain.
We have a friend who calls you Vanilla Mountain, who will remain nameless, who just loves you.
Well, you know.
You are their Vanilla Mountain.
I don't know what to say to that.
Hi, Daddy.
Hello.
Well, welcome back. It's nice to have you.
Thanks for having me yet again.
It's nice to see you in person. It's so nice sometimes when I podcast with you because it's so nice to see you in person, like in the flesh, like beside me in the room, because with pandemic stuff right now in Ontario being like the slowest pace on the fucking planet, it's so nice to be in the room with like a human person, not just like a screen. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to just reach out and touch someone.
Oh, is there a touching segment?
Maybe not as much as I touch other people. I would definitely touch you more.
I like it.
Yes, that's how you became a dad, really.
That's part of the process, from what I understand. The touching and the feeling and the caressing and the
girls have a button and boys have a pole, and wicked touching takes its toll. Is that what you learned in school?
No, but what mad Snoop Rob rhyme is that? I love it.
I don't know, but it's true. It does.
Girls have a button, boys have a pole,
and wicked touching takes its toll.
Whew. It's getting steamy in here already. Wow, that made me blush.
Everywhere. My gosh, even your legs are blushing. You're wearing shorts and I can see them blushing. I can see you blushing through your shorts. It's a horrible thing to say.
What does that even mean?
You'll find out later. No, like, I want to talk about like dads and like first like the meaning of dads, origin dads. So like dads, they've got like
you make it sound like a superhero.
Kids,
origin dad.
Well,
the dad origins.
Dads.
Secret origins, Project Dad.
Dads and people who raise kids in those fatherly type roles, you know, any role like that where you're raising a child, especially parenting, are super fucking heroes to me. You're raising small humans that have to, you know, be functioning members of society eventually. You can't fuck it up. Like, I mean, there's biological parenting, obviously, which means, you know, sperm, egg. Anyone can be a biological father, but I think it's that there's something...
Anyone can reproduce.
Yeah, absolutely. Any person can reproduce on the planet.
Short of complications.
And too many science things, but most people, they will be able to naturally reproduce, and that's biology. That's having a biological child. That's being a biological father. But I think it's something so much different to be more than just like a biological parent. To be a dad, to be a daddy. Like it's something to be that. To me, at least, is magical because I had a dad, a daddy growing up. I didn't have a guy that I strictly called, you know, father, and my dad is. I'm still like a daddy's girl. Like, you know, I'm 38 years old and I still talk to my dad like, you know, this like every day, and you know.
Well, there's two different roles.
Absolutely.
I think this is what you're getting at. On the one hand, there's the biological side, the seed for the offspring to come out.
Absolutely.
It's sounding way more complicated than it is. I'm trying to just be clear and concise and really not offend anybody, but you know, it's the physical thing that happens, the science of it.
It's that baby.
It's making the baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's the baby making.
This plus this equals this.
And then there's the other role of raising and impacting and nurturing.
And like all the caregiving and all the chasing the monsters away and you know, reading books and changing diapers and, you know, like...
Here's a question.
What's that?
What one am I better at?
What one are you better at? Which?
The baby making or the chasing the monsters?
Oh my God. You're going to ask me that? I like the practice. Sure glad I got one of me them contraptions. Fuck, can you believe that we were almost pregnant again 2 months into having a newborn? Like, what kind of
What do you mean almost? You either are or you're not.
We were pretty sure that we were, to the fact that I had
No,
a
but we
blood
weren't.
test. We weren't.
So you're not almost pregnant. It's not like you almost ran a red and like you slam on the brakes and skid past the line.
Well, it's like not like I almost didn't use protection on birth control, no birth control, when you're like the most fertile, like because I couldn't just like wait the time to like do the thing. The doctor's like, wait this long. I'm like, but I feel fine after this long.
We did wait a while.
We waited too long for me, for goddamn sakes.
Well, I didn't say I agreed with the length of the waiting.
It's doctor's orders for the,
I didn't say that I was against it. I just
you weren't against it at all. You're like, oh, you're all good for it, but you weren't like fighting it when I was like, I feel fine earlier.
I just like to go with the motion of the ocean.
And you did, and it was great. And then we thought we were pregnant. Like I'm like, oh my god, she's 8 weeks old, and I think I'm knocked up again. What kind of Beverly 90210 type of hoe am I? This was crazy. And
Gonna need a bigger boat.
This comes back to the whole part of like wanting to like be a parent. Like, why did I was listening to like a really interesting podcast, and it was with this child psychologist, and she was talking to a lot of the folks that she talks to in her, I don't know, it was like a seminar or something, and she was talking about why they wanted to become parents. And she said that 99% of the time the answers are generally similar. Like, I thought I would become a parent because I would be a really great mom. I thought I wanted to become a parent because I've always really wanted a son who I throw a baseball around with. I became a parent because I babysat a lot as a kid. I thought I'd be a great mom or dad. There always are those reasons that she said that for her started with the resounding I. The reason I want to be a parent, like I want a mini copy of myself. And she said that it all sounded really egocentric, and I was like, well, that's a horrible way to look at it, but I understand that a lot of people do look at it that way. It's just like a mini copy of themselves that they want.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I think some people feel that there's an obligation to have kids, like it's graduate, get a job, get married, have kids, retire,
have a dog, have 2.5 kids.
It's just on that predestined path of life that this is what you're supposed to do at a certain age. This is, the thing that should be happening. Other people are having kids. You got to have kids too.
Why aren't you having them too? Oh my God.
I think there is that side of it, like you talked about, where I want this. I want a little version of me. I want to, put myself out into the universe again and, further populate the human race.
See where that goes.
And then I think there's obviously people that don't plan for it to happen, and it happens.
Sure.
And they have to negotiate and navigate what that means in those circumstances. And a lot of things happen or can happen if there is a happy accident. And then I think there's even other people out there that don't know why they want kids, but just know that it's something that is interesting to them.
Sure. No, that's true. Because there are a lot of people that like find out they're pregnant and they maybe were not super like kid people, as they do quotes before, or maybe they're like thinking of being child free before and never really like crossed their radar. And then they're like, damn, I really like kids, or this parenting thing it really comes to me naturally,
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in that last word quasi group because I never had a strict plan to have kids.
True.
At one point in my life, I had written off having kids for two different reasons. The first, my previous marriage wasn't an option. Kids were not going to be part of that.
Sure.
Because of the age of the person I was with. And I had medical conditions where I was told that there was a high probability, at least a solid probability, that I wouldn't be able to reproduce. So it was just not something I ever got hung up on. I wasn't emotionally destroyed when the topic came up.
Sure.
It was just, okay, well, this isn't the path for me. I'm very career and work oriented. So I thought, okay, well, I will just continue down that path.
Sink myself into work.
And just, this is me.
Sure.
But when it happened with you, apparently there was fertility there. Apparently it was an easy match.
Boom, boom.
And it was exciting. I didn't think it was, like, oh, my destiny is fulfilled. I thought, well, this is going to be this is going to be interesting.
There's going to be something.
This is going to be a chapter that I didn't foresee. Because I think there's moments in our life where like, oh, I know how this is going to go.
Sure.
Or, I'll try this on for size and, get through it and then be done. This was always like, oh, this will be an interesting evolution of things.
Oh, yeah, because it's just going to keep going and going and going, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to keep growing and growing and eating and eating.
I've always loved kids. I love playing with my cousins who were younger than me. I love playing with my nieces and nephews.
Your nieces and nephews, like you're already a godfather, like your godparent.
So I've never had a disposition against kids, and I just never yearned for kids the way that some people like just need to have kids in their life. I was just very indifferent, very middle of the road.
Sure.
Whatever happens.
I always wanted kids. That was just always my thing. But I'm not, like I say, a dad, but as a parent, I always wanted kids. I just thought, I want to raise kind, good little humans to go into the world and change it. You know what I mean? For the better.
Yeah, I mean,
That's my hope for them.
I had a weird upbringing though too, like not the Leave It to Beaver, white picket fence, mom, dad, 2.5 kids.
I had the mom and dad, 2.5 kids too, with and the dog and everything like that. But it's not always as Leave It to Beaver as you think.
Yeah, I mean, my life eventually settled down by the time I was 6, and then there was stability.
Yes.
But a lot had happened in my life before I turned 6, and there was some events that happened after where it made me question, do I want to bring kids into the world if I have like a choice to make? Like it's just like, yes, I'll have kids. Check. Then
no, it's like not so easy to check a box.
But that's how I viewed it as like, sure. Like a teenager, when you start thinking about what your life might be down the yellow brick road. I just thought I don't necessarily want to put people through what I've gone through, and that's probably a good thing.
Which is considerate.
You don't want to repeat the history.
Absolutely, and I can understand that. You were raised to by your when I say dad, by your grandpa and your ninnle, your grandma. They raised you, and I must say they did a fine job.
Thanks.
Thank
them.
No, thanks, ninnle and grandpa. We love you. But they did a wonderful job. And I think that speaks volumes to the fact that there are a lot of kinds of dads. There are all kinds of dads. And so many different children are being raised in so many different parenting situations with different people in the dad and father roles. It may be an uncle. It could be a grandfather. It could be, a trans parent. It could be anyone.
Family friend, a teacher.
Family friend, teacher, step parent.
Even a
cousin,
brother in some situations.
Your brother in a lot of situations is a big gap, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's so amazing to see that there's more visibility to the fact that it's not just blood related and DNA people kind of raising kids. I don't think that DNA has anything to do with the love that you have for a child in your heart. I think that's absolutely has absolutely nothing to do with DNA or science. That's just love.
I think there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors with the DNA. There's this predisposed connection that we're supposed to have with our biological parent, right?
You gotta have it. You gotta have it.
But if you put somebody who grew up without their parents, who was like an orphan, and you brought them into a room and there were 6 people in front of them, 6 dads, we'll say, I don't think that person would be naturally drawn to the one person who their father was.
I agree. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd know. How would you know any different? You've been raised in captivity there, then they're gonna release you out into the wild, and you're supposed to figure it out for yourself.
I mean, that would be a really interesting psychological experiment or a social experiment if you had the orphan, 6 different dads. Would the people that connect the best be the biological match or not?
Or would they adopt the child? Who
Coming
knows?
soon from Pyre Productions.
I know, right?
Are you my dad? The survey says no. Or am I?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
How about that? Maury Povich.
Fucking Dad Quest. Oh my god.
We asked you a bunch of questions and the lie detector determined that was a lie.
So is this person gonna think that their mom was a huge hoe because there's 20 guys that could be her dad and she has to see who she has a connection with? Or they're just going to be we're hiding your dad here. There's this candid camera, and your mom actually wasn't a slut and slept with all these guys within the same time frame of each other. Do you know?
I would hate that kind of reveal. That's kind of a mean reveal where the filmmakers are in on the gag. I don't like something like that.
That feels like mean, right?
Yeah, but wasn't there a Vince Vaughn movie where he was like a sperm donor or whatever to like potentially like 200 different kids?
Oh yeah, and he had like so many children. That movie was actually like funny, but like they knew like he was this sperm donor. He was like he had super sperm.
Yeah.
They were like the sperm in the beginning of like Look Who's Talking, like fucking
round, get around.
I get around.
Yeah.
Ooh, when all those sperms see that egg, oh my god, that's like the only part I will let our kids like watching it. They're like, "Can we watch Look Who's Talking?" I'm like, if you want to learn about reproduction, Harrison, because they're like talking about it in school. I was like, you can watch the part where the tadpoles swim to the egg.
The tadpoles,
the white tadpoles. Well, they don't know about like they don't know sperm yet or ovum, so I tell him like the man seed and the lady seed, and they get together and it makes the baby tree. It's not really a tree, but like it's a baby. It's a baby. What do you tell a 6-year-old? Like, you know what I mean? I want to be like,
well, I don't know.
This is not. I don't want to tell him that sex is like heterosexual couple sex. Like if he said like
he's on to something though.
He is. Like,
he's starting to put the pieces together.
When we're flirty with each other, he's like, ew.
He's like, like tonight. I asked him like, what do you think? He's like, I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to say.
Get your disgusting public display of affection.
I think I don't know what I'm thinking.
I think I think I know what he's thinking.
I think he knows without knowing what it is.
Oh my god, he's so funny. But I think, like I say, there's more visibility now with dads. Like, look at Sesame Street. Like, we've got, well, obviously the father of like the Muppets and all of that genre like together as Jim Henson and like the mastermind behind that. But now, after his death, all obviously, the Sesame Street's introducing a same-sex couple, and they're raising a daughter. You say, and a biracial couple as well. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people said, well, Bert and Ernie, were a same-sex couple. And I don't ever remember seeing that confirmed anywhere.
I don't remember seeing it confirmed anywhere either. I knew they were best friends.
I always thought they were just roommates.
I thought they were best friends.
They're kind of like college pals that lived together. I mean, I didn't really picture them as men in their 40s.
I didn't quite picture them as college roommates because Bert collected bottle caps. I was like, who would do that? I just thought they were like two like nerdy little friends that lived together. They're just buds.
Yeah, I agree. I never picked up on that. Any
sex vibe. Like no. I never picked up on a sex vibe. I'm just gonna say they're from Sesame Street. I just didn't. Like I knew that like Maria and Luis were married. Because obviously I saw the fucking wedding. Hello.
Yeah, on the rooftop.
On the rooftop wedding, baby. We're in that wedding. Where the fuck were you? You probably weren't born yet. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Sesame Street breaks a lot of barriers by, taking what conservative media might label as taboo or touchy or
they don't
edgy.
Want to touch that subject.
They normalize it. And I think it's good that that stuff gets normalized, whether it's same-sex couples and the family dynamic, or kids with autism.
Yeah, they are. They introduced an autistic Muppet. Yeah. Like, I think it's fantastic that kids all around the world can learn about this in a palatable and an inclusive way, and it becomes their normal, and they don't look at it in a different way. It doesn't look like, oh, that child that needs a special class or something like that. You know what I mean?
I think so. If anybody's going to try to tackle, I think Sesame Street's a great platform to tackle any of these issues.
Oh, I think the best.
1, they have the funding. 2, they have the reputation, and they don't have to get it perfect. They just need to start the conversation. So same-sex couples with kids, I think, is an important step, especially as finally the world is starting to embrace that family dynamic.
Finally, and they're trying to, and people are starting to see that that's a family. That's a family. Family might not look to everybody like it looks to everybody else. You know what I mean? A family is a family. If there's love there, it's none of your fucking business what it fucking looks like. It's just so
strange to me that I mean, we're not like in the future decades from now. It's just so strange to me that, there was a time where people didn't think that was a family, because to me, a family is a group of people that come together that want to be together because they share the ideals and they grow together and
they love each other, they nurture each other.
There's the parental roles and then like the child kind of relationship as well. But like whether it's 2 dads and a daughter, like in this case, or grandparents and a grandchild, like my case.
Sure.
It feels the same to me, because anything outside, again, that Leave It to Beaver, mom, dad, brother, little brother, or whatever, sister, and dog, is the difference, right? It
Oh,
is
yeah.
different. So that could be anything. It could be just the bigger brother and the younger brother and the mom. And
Big
that's
time.
it. And the bigger brother's, working or whatever, and he's coming home and he's putting the paycheck in like the dad would.
Yeah, he may be
Any
contributing around the
unit,
house.
to
Yeah.
me, of people, any group is family.
Oh, big time. No, I agree. That's how family's supposed to be.
And we see it all the time in movies. We see like the family unit, even if it's not defined as the family unit.
Yeah, but it's defined. You can see it yourself, but they
Yes.
haven't come out and said it. So many good dads, like as far as like TV and movies and music and stuff go. Like I had so many comments get dropped in my comment section after I posted that fucking hilarious picture of Jack Torrance going
Yeah,
fucking
Shining.
crazy in The Shining. Yeah, because going in Kubrick's The Shining, going off like a firecracker because hello isolation. One more lockdown, Ontario, you motherfuckers! Holy shit, wear your masks and pull up your fucking sleeve and get shot in the arm for Christ's sakes. This country went to war for you motherfuckers. All you gotta do is pull up your sleeve and call your fucking doctor. Get your lazy ass off the motherfucking couch and get shot
No
in the
way.
arm.
I'm not getting up off the couch. I got to watch more Serpent.
I talked to my friend the other day. This is hilarious. Who was a COVID doctor. This is hysterical. And she'll tell me that she works at the COVID clinic and she often swabs people and they say, things like, are you putting COVID in me or whatever? Well, now a question that they ask at the COVID clinic is, have you had COVID? Have you been swabbed for COVID? Have you been inoculated against COVID? Have you got the COVID-19 vaccine? They're saying no. So here we are at the COVID detection clinic
yeah.
getting swabbed because we haven't gotten ourselves a COVID vaccine. Like, I mean, can you get COVID after getting the vaccine? Yes. Are you going to get in the hospital and hooked up to a vent? Probably not. And if you've seen people intubated as many times as I have, you can bet your ass that I'm the first one in line for that fucking shot. Just line me up and shoot me, motherfucker. But like I say, there are so many good dads in TV. My good dad went out and got his shot. You're a good dad. You went out and got yours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a good dad. Well, I'm a good mom. I went out and got mine.
I think it's important to set an example and talk about it with the kids.
And we did talk about it with the kids. We took them in the car and we took turns and we went in for 15 minutes and sat there and they came out and the other one in for 15 minutes and came and sat in the car and they wondered where you were and missed you and they missed me. But we have to tell them, like, mommy and daddy are doing this to be safe. And it's also to help, not only to help us be safe, to help you guys be safe and to help the world. It's important that they know, like, accountability and science and stuff too. Just, like you say, set an example. And there are so many, like, dads in history that have, like, set an example. And I like I said, in the comment section of that picture of Jack Torrance, it blew the fuck up with, like, favorite dads. And then you and I, like, started talking about some more. So, like, one of my favorite dads, and you know this, like, from forever. And, like, my friend Claire, this is one of her favorite dads too, because she says it's basically her dad. It is Clark W. Griswold, because I fucking love Chevy Chase just in any capacity. And I love Clark Griswold because just everything about him, his mannerisms, the way he talks, the way he's just like, he kind of reminds me of you in a way that he's always trying to make like a family memory. He just like wants whatever experience that they have to be like the best that it can possibly fucking be, like ever. That's not like you at all.
I think it's important though, because the things I remember growing up are, the things that stick with you that you get to do as a family, they're there forever. Like you'll always have like, there's like 10 or 20 of them. There isn't 50, there isn't 100, there isn't thousands. You get, 10 or 20 family memories that stick with you forever.
Yeah, you big ones.
Some of them are planned, that are worked on where mom and dad did what they could do to make something happen. Some of them happen because of a situation. Some of them happen within the other situations and they're part of it, like a cluster, like a web. those things are important. I think they define you, and then when you experience them, you want to be able to pass that on. So like I've been very lucky to have some very cool experiences thanks to my grandparents, and I want to be able to pass some cool experiences on to our kids, because I think they'll look back, especially when they become parents, if that's what they choose to do or the situation they find themselves in, and go, oh, when our parents did this was awesome. I'm going to try to do this for this kid because it made me feel good when I was a kid.
Well, I even remember like when like H-Bomb was like little, like when I was still like pregnant with like Scarlett. It was before the pandemic, obviously. So we'd go over to your grandparents' house, and your dad, well, your grandpa, but you call him dad, built you your tree house in your tree, and then there's Harrison playing in it too, and just like, was this Daddy's tree house? Daddy was like small like me, and he could like get in here, and he was just like so mesmerized that you were like inside this tree with like Jay Bartlett, like somehow.
Yeah.
How? Like he's like, but how?
Yeah.
I'm like, they were in here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He just like, he loved it. And it's great to see things like that go like generationally.
And there's a weird like nostalgia mirror that happens when you see your son or your daughter do something that you distinctly remember doing.
Oh, God.
And now you can stand back and almost like watch yourself, but watch them do it. And see the differences and the nuances, and see them do the things that you would do, but then their own variations. Like whether like when I see both Scarlett and Harrison play with action figures and get down and role play. Like I love when Scarlett like does the voices for the characters, and her voice goes really high up, like above her normal talking voice.
Oh yeah, and she like depending.
Hi, princess.
Oh hi, how are you doing?
I'm the baby. I'm the baby.
Like she'll do all the voices,
Yeah.
and Harrison, like they role play too, and now they'll play with each other on the floor. Like with their little role playing people, and they have like they use different surfaces, like the table and a chair, and they use different heights.
Just seeing that stuff just reminds me of me playing as a kid, and knowing how integral that was to developing my imagination and problem solving and learning to communicate with other people, and just putting yourself in a different situation because you're a different character who thinks differently and you're trying to do this. Like it's nothing but good that's going to come out of like that playtime specifically. And it's also why I relish it when I see those moments of them playing. Like as a dad, that's when I feel like this is a good dad moment. Because I've given them some skills to do this, and I'll play with them and I'll teach them how to play. And now it's like I can just let them play.
And now you're like Clark W. Griswold in the fucking attic on Christmas vacation. Listening to the Joe Cocker song.
He's watching the old home movies.
And crying your fucking eyes out. That
tears me up, man. Because like
every time that fucking
I don't
movie.
have a lot of like pictures or anything growing up with my grandparents. So like I don't have home videos.
Like all those like movies and things like that.
Handful of pictures, like that's it.
My dad's got a ton of stuff because he was always documenting things. Like I say, like he was documenting chicken, like cooking on the barbecue. He had a ton of that stuff. Like growing up,
our kids will have a lot.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, we live in the era of cell phones though too.
Yeah, we do. But I mean, like there was that area where they didn't have cell phones. They had dads like, well, Christ, imagine if your dad was Al Bundy.
Oh,
Christ on a cracker. Like he is definitely one of my favorite TV dads for being like the crustiest like dude. Like he's working a retail job, a fucking shitty retail job at that. Like putting shoes on women's feet that are probably not the nicest aroma. And he's like down on the floor serving them. And just like, could he get any more like low? And he like hates his job.
He comes home and he just gets it from his wife, gets it from his kids.
Dad, can I have some money?
And then he just gets up and does the same thing every day. But that's being a dad in a nutshell.
And he's like in the front of the TV with the hand down the pants is the greatest. Like it's just like that's the fucking Al Bundy special. It's hilarious.
Yeah. But that's being a dad. Like a lot of the times, just doing it over and over again because it keeps things going. It's tough, but it's necessary, and sometimes dad has to take the hit.
Exactly, and dad has to.
Dad has to get the earful from mom. Sometimes dad has to get the earful from the kids. Sometimes.
Peg, like they never had any food in their house. They never cooked. Nothing was going on there. What were they spending their money? Well, Peg was spending on cigarettes and chocolate.
So Al Bundy is your favorite TV dad?
It's not my favorite. I love Dan Connor as a TV dad. I honestly think Dan Connor was the shit as a TV dad on Roseanne. He's probably one of my favorite.
He's funny but stern.
TV dads. He had rules. Like, I mean, like, he had Darlene's boyfriend living with her in the basement. Like,
David, yeah.
David, like, that's pretty risque. I don't know if I'd let my teenage daughter and her teenage boyfriend live in my basement, because we know that sex only happens at night.
Sure.
Like, you know, like, fuck. Well, literally.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some TV dad. I mean, I heard you talk about like Homer Simpson.
Oh, what do you think about Homer Simpson as a TV dad? Like, really?
I don't know. That's it's almost like he's not a TV dad, right? Like he's almost just like another child.
He's like a Homer Simpson,
right? Like he's like this weird permutation of like Fred Flintstone, but Fred's a little bit more responsible. Fred gets into trouble when he tries to like cut corners.
Fred's like silly, like he's just
like,
silly.
He's like, come on, bud, let's go to the old Water Buffalo at Bowlington and win, Wilma a good pearl necklace there.
Yeah, well, we have like a rib eating contest, like a brontosaurus rib eating contest or something hilarious.
Like he always gets in trouble when he has a secret or he's trying to do something that he shouldn't be doing. He's very much honeymooners type stuff, right? But yeah, I don't know, TV dads. I mean,
movie dads though, like
movie dads I could talk about forever.
Oh my god, what about? I got one for you. George Banks, baby.
I have trouble watching those movies.
Oh my god, Father of the Bride. Like, I mean, there's the original ones, but the ones that I'm talking about specifically, especially the ones like anyone,
Steve Martin,
our generation, is going to watch the Steve Martin ones. And number one, it's Steve Martin. I love him on the banjo. I love him on the manjo just when he's talking, because he's just so funny.
He's so funny, and he's an amazing writer.
I said he's gifted. Like his masterclass is great. All of his films have been fantastic.
I can't watch. It's so hard watching those movies now. As a kid and as a teen, watching those movies.
Oh, I loved watching them.
It's just funny. It was just silly. It was like, it's funny.
And then like when you have Frank and his assistant, and like you try to like figure out their accents, you're like, George Banks, and like he'd just be so loud.
Yeah.
And he'd be so cute. Like Martin Short was adorable.
But then that thing happens where you have kids and you see everything different. It's like when you fall in love songs sound different.
Oh yeah.
When you have kids, this is where things change.
Movies about your kids getting married start becoming horror movies.
Well, and then there's horror movies involving kids, which are a trigger. I mean, we have to be careful what mystery detective shows we watch if there's kids involved, because is it going to trigger us? And
we have to like pre-screen things now. It's so different with parents. But George Banks, like, he's another one of those dads that's just like he wants to do everything for his little girl, and he wants to make her wedding perfect. So he's going to just like offer up his house. Annie.
Oh, I can't do it, because I just think of Scarlett every time. We watched it not long ago, and it was killing me.
I know. And then like the second one, that's my nightmare, because it's like mother and daughter are pregnant together. I'm like, oh, fuck me. Or you know what? Maybe don't fuck me. Like, be careful. Don't get some crazy dye in your hair and bang me on the kitchen floor like Diane Keaton style. And then, I get pregnant. Annie's pregnant at the same time. Scarlett's pregnant at the same time.
Okay. I can't.
Latent life child.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
of course,
so good.
When we talk movie dads, the first one I think of course, is Darth Vader.
Well, he's like the ultimate padre. Like he's the ultimate like symbolism for
that's a perfect example of being a father in DNA, but not being a dad. Because clearly Obi-Wan Kenobi is more of a dad.
Oh, fuck yeah. Obi-Wan is so much more like the guiding spirit and like the guiding force.
Nurturing,
and the nurturing. Yeah, exactly. And he's like...
The guy comes back from the dead as a ghost to guide Luke still.
He's a force spirit.
And you know what? He's selfless. He says, I'm not around anymore. Go learn from Yoda.
Exactly. And Yoda's another like kind of patriarchal sort of
like the
figure.
grandpa almost.
He is like a grandpa. He's like an old wise...
You never thought of Yoda as a grandpa until just a second.
He's Guru Grandpa Yoga.
Okay.
Yoga. He's Guru Grandpa Yoda, and he looks like a pagoda. I love him. He's so cute. He lives on Dagobah. That all rhymed. Living la vida Yoda. Living la vida Yoda.
I also think of George McFly and Back to the Future.
Oh my god.
And what it must be like to like imagine running into your dad as a teenager when you're a teenager.
My dad would have been
Would
awesome.
you like him?
Like,
would you hang out with him?
Oh my God.
Would you think he's like a total nerd like Marty does when he runs into him?
I'm gonna tell you for sure right now. I know because I've seen, and you've seen them too. Like so many pictures of my dad as a teenager. He's got like long hair and his guitar. Like my dad and I would like jived hardcore. If like when he was a teenager, we would like jam together. We probably would have poked some smut. We probably would have hung out like and wore bell bottom pants together and had a good old time and grow our hair together. And my dad was like a hippie. You know what I mean? He worked really hard and stuff, but he liked to play guitar. He liked martial arts, those kinds of things. He smoked pot back then because it was before he had like real bad asthma.
I don't think I would have hung out with my dad or my grandpa as teenagers. My grandpa left home when he was like 15.
Yeah, he was quite young.
So he basically, left home and started his life as an adult without like the teen.
Well, he was working, like he was already like driving boats and stuff. Like he was working his ass off young.
And my dad, I know he had a ton of fun as a teenager. He loved playing football. He loved, Kiss and stuff like that. Like certainly some similarities, but I don't think from what I know and what he like got up to and into it, I don't think
you guys would have been buds. No, I don't agree. I do agree. Like I agree that you wouldn't have been buds. Like you do have things in common. Like I mean, Kiss, obviously. Who the fuck doesn't like Kiss? If you don't like Kiss, there's something fucking wrong with your fucking face.
Elton John, Bowie. Like my dad always loved music.
He loved good tunes.
But I don't think we would have hung out.
No, I can see that totally. What about Tony Maselli? What about Tony Maselli when it comes to TV dads? Tony Danza.
He's pretty cool. I mean,
a male housekeeper for that coming into that, like a TV show in that era, and having a female in a position like Angela Bauer, this really high-powered lawyer, and then she's got a male housekeeper coming in to live.
I think
in her house.
when I think of these dads and these characters, and you ask me what do you think about this person, I think of what they do to make it work for their kids.
Yeah.
That's instantly where my mind goes. So what do I think of Tony Maselli? Well, here he is, willing to do anything to get his daughter a good home and a good place where it's going to be a better part of town. If
they live in a better neighborhood.
And if that means he's got to be a subordinate and clean houses and do whatever he's got to do because he knows his daughter's taken care of and he can smile along the way because that box is checked first and foremost. In my mind, that's like a good dad.
That's a dad,
he can put himself aside for the better of his kids.
Exactly.
And I think that's so much of being a dad, at least. It's the hardest thing in the world to do, I think.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
I mean, I'm sure being a mom is tough, but I can't ever say what it's like to be a mom. But
sure.
It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do is be a dad.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing. It's a challenge every single day.
It's a good kind of challenge, though. It's not like that challenge where you're like, oh.
Well, some days.
Well, it depends who's throwing things at you, but like really, like imagine you were a ghost dad.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Bill Cosby.
Oh, yuck! Like Bill Ghost Dad. Fucking now, when I look back on that movie, I'm just like, your dad being a ghost. Yeah, first when I was like a kid, I was like, oh, he died. That's like so sad. Now I'm just like, creepy. He was like everywhere. He knew everything that you were doing, and then all those things come out about Bill Cosby, and then he's in big trouble because he's a bad, bad man.
It's so hard because the Cosby Show was so influential. It is a funny show. There's more people involved in that show than just Bill Cosby. And so it's always that moral conundrum. Is it fair, like we talked about with the Woody Allen stuff?
Yeah.
Is it fair to everybody else involved that it has to be canceled and turned off and shut down and pushed away because of the actions of one person? You know, with Woody Allen, he's such a large part of it. It's hard to ignore. Bill Cosby is a huge part of the Cosby Show. It's hard to ignore. I think the character of Cliff Huxtable, separating the character from the actor,
from the person,
he was a beloved TV dad. He totally was. Like he was funny, like silly.
Oh, he was super silly.
So silly, and yet stern, fair, a good role model.
Yeah, I mean he was an obstetrician,
but. I don't know. It's
so
hard right now. I mean, clearly he's a good actor. If he can pull that performance off when the real life thing was so different,
Yeah,
right?
clearly.
Like
He was
he should have got
acting
some Emmys at this point for that.
fuck. Like
Ugh.
he was definitely putting it on for sure.
It's so tough, but I mean, you've just gotta reckon with it. I mean, the Cosby Show was clearly out there as an example of here's a family unit, here's a father figure that impacted the entire world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time. Or even like, I mean, Carl Winslow, lovable Carl Winslow on Family Matters.
Or Archie Bunker.
Archie Bunker. I mean, I'm the most racist person in the entire world.
Yeah,
but he
still
was
a dad.
He was still a dad. He was like an abrasive dad.
But that's so interesting, right, Archie? Right, because he's that dad, but his kids are grown-ups too. And that's the other relationship with TV dads where we don't see a lot of.
No.
We don't see like basically the grandpa, because that's where the other kids come in, right? Like
exactly. He's like Archie Bunker was like probably one of like my favorite characters for not how fucking racist he is, but how fucking crotchety he is. Just like, get off my fucking lawn. I just want to sit in my fucking chair and listen to the radio or read my book or whatever it is. Edith, shut up.
Yeah, the closest I think that I can recall off the top of my head to that is like Everybody Loves Raymond with Ray's dad.
Oh shit, yes.
You know, because it's not about the kids and the parents, it's about the parents and the grandparents at that point,
and
right?
Their relationship's so funny because like they're still treating them like little kids, right? Because I mean, like, everybody obviously loves Raymond, and he's the superstar, and his brother's just, you know,
living at home.
He's a cop living at home with his parents.
Hello, Raymond. Hello, Raymond.
Hello, Raymond.
Yeah, like
it's just living at home with your parents, you know, no kids, not really.
That show, I don't know if you're a big fan of
I've seen lots of it because he's a sports writer.
Yeah, him as a dad, that's such a good portrayal of what being a dad is like.
Oh,
it's
big
so
time.
funny. It is so funny thinking about it now, because I don't think I've watched an episode since I've been a dad.
Oh God!
So just thinking about it, and he's got the 2 twin girls and everything. Oh, I'm dying already.
Oh, I know. There's so many fun dads. Oh my God. I was watching on Instagram the other day, and I was talking about fun dads like in rock bands and stuff. And there was like a video that like Zach Wilde had posted from like Black Label Society. And he was singing to his kids. It was like, toxic diarrhea, it's made of poop and pee. And you can tell like his kid is just howling, and he doesn't give like, you can tell he doesn't give 2 shits about Instagram. He's just like getting in his kid's
and he's
face.
Not worried about being like metal and like serious and on brand. And
he's just like being silly, just being
Zach
dad.
Wilde, who's a dad.
Exactly, he's dad Zach Wilde or whatever, like Jonathan Davis and Korn. I mean, there are all kinds of dads in music.
It's a weird thing because you grow up with some of these people as like teenagers. And even though you become a parent, it's weird to think that they're parents now too. Like thinking Ozzy, who had a TV show about, you know, his family.
Yeah.
And like Gene Simmons too.
But think about like early on. Think about how like early on with these bands, and like now, I mean, obviously there's not that much touring. It's kind of starting to go back. But like back in the day, it was not so uncommon. It's not so uncommon now to bring your kids on the road and raise them on the road. I mean, Ozzy raised his kids on the road. They had handlers. There are people that I know now that their kids, you know, grow up on the tour bus. They have, you know, 3 or 4 separate tour buses. They've got a good entourage going on, and they go with the whole band and they tour with mom and dad. It's like working from home with mom and dad, except they go there too. They get tutors. They're schooled properly on the road. When I was on tour with Kitty back in the day, we toured with a band that actually did bring kids on the road with them, and they were there like to see them for all their shows. And I thought it was really like adorable for them to like have their kids there to see them. They didn't see a lot of like the shows because they were pretty metal.
Yeah.
But they were there to see like their dads at the time. It was all daddies in a band. They're all there to see their daddies and hang out, and the wives were kind of around and stuff. And I thought it was a really neat to see that like familial whole bond, like with a group. I thought that was really cool.
It'd be cool to have our whole family somewhere. Like if I was shooting on like a studio or something like that, where it was like a reoccurring set, to have you guys close by. Because one of the hardest things for me being away from you guys while we're trying to film, whatever project it is. Like it's really tough for me. It's really tough not to, kiss you all goodnight. Like just small things, but big things.
But like the huge things when you think about it, when it boils down to it, and you're like going to bed by yourself in like a hotel room at night, it's fucking terrible.
So vacant.
Exactly.
It's so vacant, and there's like, there's the joke about, you don't have to hear the screaming and all that stuff. Like that's just kind of like the soundtrack of your day-to-day life. You miss it when it's not there. It's strange when it's not there.
Yeah, it feels really
like there's like
a strange
5 minutes of bliss, like literally 5 minutes, and then after that it's like, oh, this is weird.
And then the depression sets in.
It's
so
tough.
Strange.
It's tough, when you get so close to your kids, and it's hard to go back to adulting sometimes.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Like I had a lot of that, like when I was a kid, like stuff what I do things with my dad, and then it would be hard like to go back to like adulting. I always remember my dad doing things like he would organize like my birthday parties or something like that. Like I remember one year he organized one for me at Fluffy's, and it was so like, childlike fun. I was young too, like I must have been like 10 or 9. I remember going back there. They would let you make your own pizza for your birthday. You'd be able to do that. And I wanted to make sure the pizza monster was there, like, so he was awake and he wasn't sleeping. I'm pretty sure like the pizza monster was some like just drunken guy in the back. Fluffy's over there on Springbank and Kernahan Parkway. That's where it was at the time.
I never really had that with either my grandpa and certainly not my dad, where they always worked.
Really?
Like nonstop.
Well, my dad worked a lot, but when he was off work, he did things like he would always organize my birthday parties. Like he organized one at Fluffy's. I remember like when we took my friends, he organized one for me like at Masonville Mall. We did like mini putt golf.
There's a couple instances where my grandpa was certainly involved in that stuff, but like he was always working. Like on weekends, he wouldn't be at work, but he'd be working outside, doing stuff, or working at the cottage. He was always busy, always busy, but he did take us to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like 9 of us, in the theater.
Really?
Which was huge.
Holy 9 kids managing all those little fuckers. But I mean, he managed all you guys in like scouts.
Well, this is a thing I'm going to come to in a second too. And he also led games and stuff at a sleepover I had, which was part of another birthday party. Like he actually played with all of us, which I like. It's in my mind because it doesn't happen. I only played catch with him probably like 6 times outside.
He's just a busy guy. He just always go.
Yeah, I don't know. And he was a scout leader, and we did a lot of activities through scouts.
I've seen the videos.
And there's 2 moments. Oh, these are so tough to talk about. There are 2 moments that I had where I had to confront my grandpa, who's my dad. I had to confront him about stuff.
Oh.
One was just like a stupid kid thing where we found a bunch of dirty magazines.
Oh no.
And Ninel said I had to talk to Dad.
You better go talk to your dad about these.
Because I don't think she knew what to say, or she wanted to make sure that he imparted some advice about what these magazines are and what they're for and why they exist.
She's probably just like, Holy Mary, Jesus, and Mary and Joseph, and just bless the holy. What? Don't go talk to your dad.
Yeah. So, and he was very kind, and I just said we found some magazines in the woods, which is true.
You did. You found them by the ski hill.
And he said, "Oh, okay." Well, I think he said something like, I don't even remember what he said. I think he said, "Well, there's not going to be any more of that, right?" Like just something like waiting just to like get the situation over almost as quick as I was.
You just want to get.
But I can't imagine what it must have been like for him. I know, like you make Harrison talk to me about stuff, or Scarlett, you're like, go talk to your dad. Your dad's gonna find out. Go talk to him, and I'll know what it is already before the kids even come talk to me.
Hell yeah!
And I don't really relish, but I kind of enjoy when they walk up to me and they don't know how to talk to me about it. I'm not hard on them. I just
not at all. You just wait for them to say something to you.
I just wait for them to say it. Wait for them to summon the courage to tell me.
I remember.
I'll tell you the Boy Scout thing after. Yeah.
Okay, I remember one time my dad bringing home Delirious because he owned a movie store when we were kids. Mm-hmm. And he brought home Delirious, the Eddie Murphy movie. And he had said something about in the actual film having sex in gay style. And he said something about anal sex. And I don't know what it was that I had seen on Delirious, but being young, and I remember being like 5 or 6, but saying something to my dad, and I said something, I'm going to fuck you up the ass. And I remember getting grounded, like specifically getting grounded, like walking into, obviously him watching it like late at night when I wasn't supposed to walk downstairs. I must have heard it, gone to bed, slept on it, and then I said it. Oh my God, I got in the trouble of my life. I had to go sit on my bed and I had to think.
There's nothing worse than hearing your kids say something or do something that you know you're responsible for them saying or doing.
I know, it's like, it's
like
horrible.
You have to get mad at them, even though you're the reason that it happened. And they know you're the reason. It's like in A Christmas Story, right? When he says, "Oh fudge!" Only I didn't say fudge.
But
of course, I heard my old man say that word 3 times a day.
Exactly.
Twice before breakfast.
The dad's always dropping fucking F-bombs because like the furnace is going crazy. I loved him too.
Yeah, good TV, good movie dad.
Like he was great
dad.
on A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Oh, great! And you went to the old man. The old man. You went to that house.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That's a great family movie, showing the family unit and how the mom and the dad are on the same team, but they work against each other. Especially that Christmas present scene, like opening it up.
Oh yeah,
there's just something else in the corner
there's
there.
A little something there.
And then he watches Ralphie load it. He's like, yeah, you do it. And that's what I'm talking about. Like that's a perfect example of he's watching Ralphie do it just like he did it as a kid.
He's like, oh, I remember how excited I was for my BB gun.
And my grandpa did stuff like that for me for Christmas, like hiding, like I would always have like a small present under the tree, or like the last present I would get would always be the biggest one.
Ooh.
And so this one time there was just like a small present. You would swear it would be like a ring box or something. Like it wasn't big at all, except for it wasn't a ring.
Sure.
It was very flat. I opened it and there was a key. What did the key go to?
Oh God, this is so your grandpa. This is ridiculous.
And so I had to figure it out, and it went to his truck. And it opened the back door of his truck, and inside his truck was a TV.
Whoa!
Which is a big gift.
So you got like a TV for your room?
Yeah, it's like a 27-inch TV for my room, which is a big deal as like a 13-year-old.
It's a junior-old kid. That's a huge TV. That's a huge TV now. You can't take that to Scouts with you. No. Scoutmaster Grandpa Daddy would not let you take that. So
this is the other thing that was really hard to do with him when I had to talk to him about not wanting to be in Scouts anymore.
Oh fuck! How old were you?
It would have been in 8th grade, grade 8, so 12 or 13, somewhere around there.
That's the time when a girl, like a Girl Scout, like a Girl Guide becomes a Pathfinder.
Yeah, I think I would have had one more year of Scouts before I would have been like an adventurer.
Adventurer, yeah, that's what Pathfinders
or whatever it was called. Not adventurer.
I forget the next level.
It's whatever it was, and
you did not want to go to the next level.
No, it wasn't that. It's just I had lost kind of interest in it. It was like the same stuff over and over again. I enjoyed the camping, but there wasn't enough camping. And I thought, that's what I'll say to him. That's how I'll get out of this. Like I felt like I had to get out of it because I was worried about hurting his feelings. So I had to say something that he would understand why I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't hurtful, but
yeah.
Sure.
And it wasn't, I wanted to hang out with girls. It wasn't that I wanted to do stuff with my buddies. Because at this time in my life, I really didn't do much. I stayed home.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
And I think for my grandparents, this was like a hobby that I was doing to get me out of the house and stuff. And I just remember saying, I don't want to do Scouts anymore. And there's not enough camping. And I was like, are you sure? Like, yeah. I was like, okay. And I remember feeling weird, like the next Scout season that started, and he would go off to Scouts and I didn't.
Aww.
It was really tough for me the first couple.
Oh, I bet.
First couple months.
It was probably really strange because he'd be off camping, and you know how fun like he is with camping. Like he has his own like recipe book. I mean, he's given it to me.
It was good until they started like bitching about what the other Scouts weren't doing and the other leaders what they weren't doing. And I'd hear at camp, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not a part of that.
Oh fuck that! Like someone's not pitching in.
Yeah.
Someone's not helping with tents.
Boneheads aren't doing this. Well, what do you expect when you do it this way? It's like I told them they didn't want to listen to me. He said, whatever, I'll do it my way.
Sounds like him.
Yeah.
Sounds just like him. I mean, there's so many good like dad memories. Like I didn't camp a lot with my dad, but I did a lot of fishing and stuff with my dad. I loved going fishing with him. We get up like super early in the morning in the cottage and we go and we catch like a ton of fish. Like a ton. I'd come back with a hook of like, 20 of them. My Oma at the time. my mom's mom, she'd be at the cottage. She'd clean them all. Like we'd get perch or something. And we'd have like a fish fry for breakfast. And it was awesome. But I'd go and get them at like 5 o'clock in the morning when it was dark. We'd have a whole bunch of worms. And I'd just go out in the boat with my dad. And like literally every time we'd tap like the hook in the water with the little bobbin, we'd get a bite. We wouldn't use a whole worm. We would only use half. My dad also taught me how to play guitar. He put a guitar in my hands when I was, I don't know, 7 years old. He handed me a Gibson SG and was like, here, play this. And I was like, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? He handed me his guitar strap. I still play it to this day. And he'd put on music. We'd listen to stuff like Stevie Ray Vaughan. And he'd kind of get me to kind of like try to play along with it and stuff like that. And like listen to music and learn how to play along. Or my best memories with him were like listening to like Michael Jackson's Thriller with all the lights out in the living room, like where all the record player was. He had like a kick-ass like quadraphonic stereo system. It was just awesome. He had like big woofers and tweeters, like big speakers, and he could just he'd make the whole living room shake. So he'd put on Thriller, right? And like Vincent Price's voice would start and the door would open and everything, and the lights would be off and it'd be dark, and he'd be holding me in his arms, like with his arms cuddled around me, and we were listening to Thriller.
Amazing.
And it would be horrifying. Like, bah, 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 bah. And I'd be like, hold me, doom, 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 doom. And like, it was just awesome. I just remember feeling really safe. Or he'd like dance with me and my sister and stuff like that. He'd put on like Stevie Wonder, that song, like, Isn't She Lovely? You'd have one of us on each side. Like sometimes, we both like tandem carry the kids. Yeah. And he'd be dancing with both of us.
It's so interesting to hear that you had such concrete like memories of like learning stuff and being exposed to stuff from your dad.
Oh, I remember lots of things.
I didn't get stuff like that from either my grandpa or my dad like that. My grandpa would never say, sit down and check this out. No? Never, ever. I would get put into situations and I would develop skills based on those situations that I was in.
Really?
So it'd almost be like, into the frying pan, like, here you go.
Into the fire.
Or into the deep end.
Oh, yeah, they just threw you to the wolves all the time, right?
And like, I don't think I was ever truly in danger or in a situation where, like, I couldn't, find a way out of it.
No, you couldn't navigate yourself
But it was never like, hey, I want to show you something. I'm very much like that to Harrison and Scarlett. Let me show you this cartoon. Let me show you this movie. Let me show you this toy. Let me show you this thing that is, important to me that I think you'll just really think it's cool. Harrison was so resistant for so long. And Scarlett is a little bit, it might just be an age thing. Mm-hmm. But now Harrison's coming around. Yeah. He's coming around to a lot of different things. Because now that I've had like a couple like hits and not just strikes, he gives Dad a second chance on.
He's like, oh, now I think you're cool.
Like, okay, I'm gonna try this. Like he's kind of into Star Wars now. He's getting into superheroes. Scarlett loves superheroes. So
she is a superhero.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere.
My thing with my dad used to be chess.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's like Bobby Fischer. Do you play a lot of chess growing up?
No, I played cards with my dad. So
Did you?
Going to Windsor, the thing that the family would always do, family would come over, uncles, aunts, cousins. We'd play a lot of euchre.
Oh, yeah.
I never really played with my dad, though, as a partner. Like, I remember a couple times I would play with him as a partner. For people that don't know, euchre is a game that where you play in pairs. It's your team against another team, and then you play, but never chess.
Chess was just one of those things that I played with my dad that, like, never got old. No matter how many times, like, we played it. It's just always, like, our game. I never played it really with anyone else. And then my dad had moved, like, out of town, like, by the lake. And I remember going up to his house being, like, 19 and having some really, like, strong hydroponic pot. And my dad, like, not have had smoking weed in years, and my dad can't smell, right? Like I've said before, my dad is smell blind. His nasal polyps, he can't smell a fucking thing. And my stepmom like wasn't around. She wasn't home or something, and I was like, Dad, come on, smoke this joint with me and we'll smoke some pot. Oh God. We got playing chess and we ended up looking on like newgrounds.com and laughing our asses off for hours stoned. I'd never seen my dad high before. Oh, fuck. It was so weird yet funny at the same time, yet still so strange to be high with your parent because you always expect that person to be like in control. So being like a little bit stoned with my dad was just like, now I think I would like, well, I don't know, it would probably be weird because we're so old, but
Yeah.
like it was just, it's looking back on it, it's fucking funny. And then like my stepmom coming home too, being like, did a skunk spray in the backyard? And we're both like eating cookies, like Bert and Ernie.
You and I have had such polar opposite experiences with our fathers.
With our father figure
crazy.
people. Well, it's true. I mean, I also had like my opa, like who was like my mom's dad, and he taught me a lot of stuff like my dad did too. My dad taught me like a lot about cooking and stuff. My opa taught me a lot about like gardening and taking care of a yard, taking care of a garden, chopping down trees. Like when I learned to chop firewood, like when I'm fucking pissed off, I'll go grab an axe and go split some beams, baby. It's just the Polish way. He taught me how to chop firewood, so that's what I'll do when I'm not feeling it, or go out and like cut the grass. That was like something my dad also taught me how to do, like cut the grass, edge trim things.
Yeah, you like to huff it outside to clear your mind.
Oh, I love it. It's my fave.
Whether it's a jog or like you said, swinging an axe or pushing a mower.
Or like slinging dirt and do like a garden. Or like today I was like, let's go plant grass seeds. So I'm like, and I'm out in the rain planting grass seed like a fucking asshole. But like whatever, it's like I'm like
I offered to do it.
I know you did.
I said, hey, I can throw some shoes on. You're like, oh,
I'm like, oh, it's
I got
okay.
crappy shoes on.
I'm like, I totally like reminded myself of my dad today, just like fertilizing the grass, just out there, just feed the birds, just throwing grass seed all over the place, just fertilizing the lawn. But the rain was coming, so it was like whatever.
It was raining. You're doing it in the rain.
I know. Like, but the more rain was coming. Makes it grow. All the things that make it grow. That's another thing I grew up with. My dad always having like facial hair, like a mustache or like a beard or something like that. I remember one time he shaved his beard off, and like we didn't recognize him and didn't want to fucking be around him.
Grandpa Norm, dad to me, had a mustache for the longest time, and when he shaved it off, it was very strange.
Isn't it the weirdest thing ever?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was very, very strange. Now, hilariously,
there's your mouth.
My dad, my father, couldn't grow facial hair to save his life.
Which dries, like, I honestly can't believe it, because
like,
you have this giant, glorious fucking beard.
He like didn't shave for like a month and only had like little prickle stubbles on his little chin.
I can't believe that. He just had a baby face, eh?
He like, you could only notice it like when his face was wet after the shower or after he jumped in the pool.
There'll be a little peach fuzz.
Yeah, just a little like sandpaper peach fuzz.
But I'm telling you,
it always drove him nuts that he couldn't have a beard and I could.
Like you have a majestic ass beard. Like it's huge. I love beards.
It's
like,
a regal gown at this point.
I know. I think you should probably sit on it. It's great.
Jesus.
Well, don't call for Jesus. He's not going to help you.
He might.
No, but this I think is the origin of why I've been like digging deep down into therapy about like my pagonophilia and my actual like love of beards, right? Because I'm like I love beards. Like what's wrong with me? Well, that's not anything wrong. Like what's right with me? Like what happened? Like my dad always had a beard growing up, and I just always thought beards like were nurturing, and like because my dad was always like that. He was like nurturing, and he was much as a dad as he was. He had like very like maternal qualities with him too. He'd always be the one, if you got frostbite, to, put your hands in his mitts, warm your hands up, if you're out tobogganing, you know what I mean? He'd give you his jacket. He's just always very...
Again, the dad takes the hit.
The daddy dad, always. He was just always that kind of dad. Like the dad in like Captain Fantastic, like Viggo Mortensen. Just everything for the kids, right?
Or The Road.
Oh, The Road.
Again, Viggo.
Viggo is a badass motherfucker.
But your love of beards doesn't just stop at your dad. There's also Father Christmas that you love.
Oh, Christ. I knew you were going to bring this up.
Daddy, Christmas time.
I sat on Santa Claus's fucking lap till I was 25 years old. Like, and I didn't have kids till I was in my 30s. I just went to the mall every year. I sat on that lap I got my picture taken. I was just like mesmerized by how bright and shiny his bells were, and his beard was so white and soft. So I mean, I grew up with my dad and a beard, and I love Santa Claus, and like it's just beards. The other day I was like, "Fuck flowers, grow a beard." Like,
I have a beard.
I know. I'm so glad that you do, and you've gotten more beardier as we.
The best is you get so angry when my beard gets trimmed.
Oh my God, I'm a little shit about it.
Yeah, it's like not fair that I can't control what happens to my own face.
I'm going to give you the Father's Day trim.
Well, you're not touching my beard.
Around the sides. I'm going to like make it like topiary.
No. When you take care of the mop top, because you promised to do this for Father's Day.
Yes, I did.
This weekend. And then I will adjust the beard accordingly.
Okay, this is coming out this weekend, so I'll be able to help.
What are some other movie dads that you like?
Ooh. I can give you a TV dad that I like.
Okay, give me a TV
Dumbass. Red Foreman. Oh my God. And all those pot smoking kids in the basement, just calling everyone a fucking dumbass. I just thought his character was so brash. And then I also loved, I don't know if you ever enjoyed this series, but I did, Frank from Shameless. He was just like a total fuck up.
Never saw it. I love William H. Macy.
I know. I just, not a show that you got into. And then also Heisenberg.
I was going to say Breaking Bad. That's an interesting character to look at a dad because he
Walter White.
Everything that happens, he says he does it for his family.
To set them up, yes.
Which is like so noble and everything that he's going through. But there's that turn that happens where he's not doing it for his family anymore. He's doing it for him. And so does he abandon that fatherly role and responsibility, in favor of his own desires at one point?
Does it become that egotistical? Does it come back to that resounding I?
Yeah, and
right?
like the relationship he has with his son.
Yeah, because it totally changes.
Yeah.
Series spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen Breaking Bad by now, I don't know where you are. Probably living in the same land as me who hasn't seen all the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
The House of I don't know what
There's some interesting stuff there too for fathers in Game of Thrones. I love Last Crusade.
Oh yeah.
To me, watching Last Crusade is like watching my grandpa, Sean Connery, and my Uncle Rob, Indiana Jones. Just the way that they bicker back and forth, different philosophies, not being right or wrong, they just different approaches to stuff, and it's so funny. It just reminds me of it.
Yeah,
all the time.
I can see that
because I've worked with them and seen them like that in a professional context, not just like around the Christmas tree during the holidays.
Like when you guys have done like HVAC work when you work for your grandma in the summer.
So like I can see like they're so similar that they grind on each other kind of.
That's so funny. You can see where they grind each other's gears because you.
But ultimately, my uncle has to always tip his hat to my grandpa because he's the elder statesperson and.
Oh fucking! He's like the elder water buffalo.
So
it's like fucking mad
but
fucking respect.
That's for sure. And of course, Alan Grant, Jurassic Park.
Oh, he's amazing.
The guy who doesn't want to be a dad, who doesn't love kids at all.
They're not in his lexicon.
He gets thrown like in the like worst responsibility he can imagine. Not being stuck in a island full of dinosaurs that could eat him. Stuck in a fatherly role, taking care of these two kids.
Responsible for these children.
Yeah, but who better to get these kids through Jurassic Park than a dinosaur expert?
Well, for fuck's sakes, I don't know who else.
And seeing him change and become a dad is really cool.
Seeing Viggo Mortensen's character in Captain Fantastic, I think that is one of my favorite dad roles.
It's a good role.
Because he's so. I mean, I thought
it terrifies me.
Yeah.
It's so scary to watch as a dad. In the same way that watching George Banks have to watch his daughter walk away from him.
Yeah, I mean, and spoiler alert, if you've never seen Captain Fantastic, it's about a gentleman with and a woman with a lot of children that they want to go off the grid and live in the middle of the forest on this bus. They're kind of hippies, I guess, by now. This generation's terminology, or like van life or bus life or whatever they use.
Van culture
or bus culture. Climb on the magic bus. But the mom is suffering badly from depression. So it ends up falling on the dad to be responsible for all these children. and to school them and teach them about society and kind of like the government, his views on it. And he's got some different views on the government than what is taught, in the mainstream, and all the kids are kind of homeschooled. He kind of takes everything on himself, like completely. The movie's amazing. If you can catch Captain Fantastic,
it's good.
It's something that I was like, Frank Langella's in it, Viggo's in it, and you're like, I'm into it.
The interesting thing about dads in media is that it's a universal thing. So, or moms for that matter. Like
sure.
the kid to parent relationship is always so ripe to mine from and see, how they react to one another. Is it master servant? Is it more camaraderie? Is it teacher student?
Oh, like even like Kramer versus Kramer. That movie fucking annihilated me.
Yeah, it's tough. Dustin Hoffman, again, brilliant in it.
So brilliant. And even like Meryl Streep coming in late in the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Early and then late in the game. It's like, that was such a fantastic movie. And like seeing that paternal bond happen, like with that child and his father, was just amazing to see. Because like he wasn't totally ready for it at the beginning either. She was just like, oh, okay, here you go. Here's a kid.
Yeah, he's got to figure it out,
And he got like thrown, like I'm saying, from the frying pan into the fire.
3 Men and a Baby.
Yep. 3 Men and a Baby. I was literally just watching the other day with Scarlett, and she was laughing her head off because they couldn't get the baby like in a diaper, and it came with no clothes on because it was naked, of course. Yeah. It was the funniest thing ever. Oh my God.
I think of other like dad stuff like Mamma Mia as well.
Totally. Like, who is your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah.
We're not sure. She had sex in the course of...
You want to talk about like that social experiment we mentioned earlier.
36...
What do you think of your mom? She can't remember what happened.
Exactly.
Well, I think it was one of these three.
And then it's like all set to an ABBA song, so it goes away.
It just washes away.
I can still recall my last summer, lots of roof and all. Jesus. My last summer. Oh my God, sleeping in the sand.
I have a dream.
No kidding, she had a dream a lot.
Some wet sheets. What are you laughing about over there?
All those potential lovers sleeping in the goat barn on Mamma Mia. That's what
Ain't no garbage bag on those sheets.
No shit. Just probably some baby oil. Jesus Christ.
Grecian.
Oh, so Grecian.
Olive oil.
The only thing I want to finish is with this rise of, and I know this rose with dads like years ago. There's like dad jokes, obviously. People think that like dad jokes are hilarious, and there are tons of dad jokes, and you can Google them, and there's dad memes. But this concept, there's this thing called like the dad bod. Like, what is the dad bod?
It's the perfect ideal body, 6-pack, ripped, chiseled, but after you don't work out for 10 years and drink nothing but beer from the day that you've stopped working out. That's how you get the dad bod, which is this pudgy, flabby, round, soft, squishy, torso-like thing.
You know what, though? I'm going to say, I have this thing for the dad bod. I love the dad bod.
I hope you only have a thing for this dad bod.
You're dad right that I do. You're damn right that I do. Only.
Mine's a bit more of a double dad bod.
I'll get double down on that dad bod. I love it. It's big time. No, but it's true. It's like this.
It's big time.
I love it.
It's big time.
Hearing about the dad bod, it just like makes me like, I'm like, why would you like shame a guy for their body? But you know what? I love the dad bod. I think I was talking to a friend about it the other day online about like making a hashtag BBBM. Big bearded beautiful men. It's true. There's so many of y'all out there. You are my favorite. Big bearded.
I'm glad I'm on the top of your list.
Beautiful bearded dad. I just love you so much. Well, it's been a treat enjoying this daddly doodly episode with all of you. You know where to find my uninteresting ass every single week. You can find me on my Instagram at 21st Century Rocker Mom. You can find me on Twitter at Tanny Candler. find me on YouTube channel and check the subscribe button by the Tandy Candler channel. If you check the subscribe button, if you hit the little bell, you get a notification anytime anything new comes up. So when these things do come up on YouTube, you can listen to them if you don't have them through like Spotify or any of those listening and streaming platforms on your phone. You can find random craziness sometimes on TikTok at 21st Century Rocker Mom. Other than that, I'll see you beautiful people next week. Rob, you got anything you want to say?
It was just fun talking about dads. A lot of this I didn't think about until we started talking. So dads are all around us. TV, music, our lives, people we know. And dad is who you want him to be or her to be, you know?
It's true. It's whoever you see dad is, that's dad. With that, I wish y'all a happy Father's Day. Anybody who's in a fatherly role, paternal role, you're taking care of a child whatsoever, you're a dad in some way, shape, or form to me. So thank you to you and all that you do. I love you all, and we'll see you next week on another episode of 21st Century Rocker Mom Podcast.